Hi everyone, this is Mr Neel Raithatha, also known as the Wax Whisperer. Thank you for joining me in my latest video. This is of a patient who attended with real severe earache in their left ear. And what they have is a buildup of dead crusted skin, dead keratin, and this procedure is performed in two parts. This is the more lateral plug of dead skin, and you can see it's really strongly adhered to the ear canal wall. Now, interestingly, if you've been watching my videos, I may have explained that there's two types of wax as an umbrella form anyway. You have many different types of wax, but you can categorise them as either being wet or dry. And then in each category, there's subcategories. And there's a specific gene mutation that occurs. If you have wet earwax, which is very common in Europeans and people from African descent, there's a specific gene mutation of the ABCC11 gene, where the wax also contains an oily sweat, the same sweat as we find under our armpits for any of those, including myself, who suffer from sweating under the armpits when exercising, etc. And in the absence of that oily sweat, you have dry earwax. And dry earwax is very common in people with ancestry or who originate from the Far East or the North Americas. Now, this patient is from the Far East. And I know a lot of people watch other channels as well. And sometimes I read comments about a lot of the channels, earwax removal channels in the Far East, where they have this type of wax. And, well, it's not really technically wax, it's dead skin. And so I started off with the suction probe, but it was just too crusted, too hard. So I've just used the ear hook. And what we're just trying to separate this from the canal wall. So I'm just gliding it around 360 all the way around the perimeter. And because we're working on the lateral portion of the ear canal, so the lateral portion is the outer third, the cartilaginous portion, we can put a bit of pressure against the canal wall. So we can glide the hook in between the dead skin and the canal and then push the dead skin away from the canal. And so I've separated it. You probably saw that I went all the way around with the hook, and I've really separated this. Now I'm now using the forceps to grasp onto this dead skin, and I'm slowly left to right, coming forwards, and we're trying to take this plug out. So this is the first part. I think this plug comes out in two sections in a minute. I'll just let you watch that. And even at this stage, the patient reported that their symptoms of earache had subsided significantly. I was quite surprised because for me it was still quite blocked, but obviously that pressure of the dead skin that was adhered to the canal was quite significant, and that was what's causing the main symptoms. So you can see there, I've taken out a large. You can just see how thick that skin is. It's really, really a thick layer. So I'm gliding the top jaw in between the roof of the ear canal and the crusted skin. So this is part one done. So we've got the lateral bit. Now we're really, really deep in the ear. And I've just initially went in with the forceps and we're going really deep. But the patient, as I grasped it and pulling away, they found that really, really uncomfortable. So I know straight away that's really, really strongly adhered. So I've just soaked it with sodium bicarbonate drops. That works better than I feel. The norm what I use is the olive oil spray. But with dead keratin skin, sodium bicarb works much better. Now, we can't now use hooks and scoops, Jobson horn, this deep in the ear. This is right near the eardrum. We're at we're about 5 millimetres away, so half a centimetre away. And the ear anatomy is such that there's around half a centimetre away from the eardrum, the ear canal narrows and it widens again. And that narrowing and widening creates two recesses. We have one at the front of the ear canal called the anterior recess, so where we are now. So in the case of the left ear, the anterior recess is on the left-hand side of the ear canal. So the ear canal, you can we're just below the suction probe, you can see the canal go in and then it goes, you can't see it, but the next part you can't see, but it goes away again. And that creates a little pocket, a little recess there. And also at the bottom of the ear canal, so the ear canal goes up and then it comes back down. It's like a mountain peak there. And that creates a little basin, a little trench at the bottom of the ear canal. If I were to glide the hook or scoop in at that depth against the bone, it'll be excruciating pain for the patient. So if you're using local anaesthetic or the patient's having the procedure done under general anaesthetic, then it's not an issue. But you wouldn't really, unless it's absolutely, there's no other way, you would not, I wouldn't personally anyway, risk using a hook and forceps if there's no other way that deep in the ear. Now, this skin, as I mentioned right at the beginning, it's so strongly adhered. It's such a thick layer of skin. If it's a thinner layer, it would have peeled away much, much easier. But it's almost like plastic, like a shard of glass, if even. It's really, really sharp around the edge. And you can see, I'm just trying to, again, like I did with the outer plug of dead skin, I'm just trying to elevate this off the canal wall all the way around. So it just makes it easier to remove. Now, whilst I'm suctioning, the drops are still, I've got the patient tilted over, so the drop still remains in the ear. And I'm trying to, I'm adopting that, so the skin has more exposure to the drops, so it softens more. When I first started using drops procedures, I used to instill the drops and get the patient to drain, then come the opposite way, so the drops comes out, and I used to re-enter with the instrument. And I still occasionally adopt that technique, but more often than not now, I'm actually performing the procedure whilst the drops are still in situ. I just find it has a better effect. It's a bit more difficult at times, complex, because when you're suctioning and you've got drops in there, sometimes you can get a bit of blurriness there because you're suctioning some of the drops, but there's techniques and with experience you can accommodate that. Now, I wanted to go back in with the forceps, if truth be told, because I was pretty confident that now that I've used a lot of drops and I've softened it and I'm peeling a lot of this away, that it wouldn't be uncomfortable if I used the forceps. But the patient was very reluctant for me to do so, and naturally I've got to do what's best for the patient, and so we just continued, and they're finding this quite comfortable actually. In fact, they're finding it quite therapeutic. They came with a friend, and the friend was watching the procedure over my shoulder, and the patient is a YouTube fan, so they're probably watching this tonight. I said I would upload it yesterday, but I didn't get time to, and I had another one as well. So the patient asked that I just continue, if possible, just using the suction. They found it much more comfortable. So I've just put some more drops. And again, I do feel if I used the forceps, it would have been a lot better, because, as I said, it's just detached itself. But we're just persevering. And so this last piece of keratin is actually attached to the eardrum. So I've detached it all the way around the ear canal wall. You can see it's separated. And because it's such a thick layer and density of dead keratin, it's playing tug of war. So when I'm bringing this down with a suction probe, and it is difficult getting a suction grip because it's so dry on the surface, even with the drops, it's really, really dry, and it's hard to get into suction grip there. I'm just trying to bring it down because it's stuck to the top part of the eardrum, and as I'm bringing it down and coming away, and again, you probably saw the drops are still in this ear. This patient's ear is full of, so I'm almost performing this procedure under, not water, but under the oil, or sodium bicarbonate drops, should I say. And you can see there around the edge all the drops, and it's really helping. The drops in this instance, it's acting almost like, well, it's acting, so think about this skin being attached to the ear canal and eardrum. Think about the stickiness that's adhering itself. It's like a thick glue. So the sodium bicarbonate drops is almost like an active ingredient to almost break down that glue. So if you think about, if you've got something stuck on, you've got a sticker on your car, and you want to remove it, a good way of doing that is to soften the glue by using a hot air dryer, a hot air gun, and that melts the glue somewhat, and then you can peel away, and it comes off without any issues. And similarly, we're using the sodium bicarbonate drops to almost break down the adhesiveness of this skin, so I can bring it forwards. And also, it helps to lubricate the ear canal as well, and the eardrum, and also the sucker. So similar to if you've got a ring stuck on your finger and you put a bit of soap. So you can see we've just detached that last bit off the eardrum, and it comes out in a real big cast. The patient was over the moon, their friend was over the moon as well who was watching. So you can see the eardrum's nice, healthy, intact. We haven't bruised or cut the ear canal in any way. It is a bit red naturally because we are peeling stuff away, but it's in good condition otherwise. It's really healthy, and that's all the remnants from that ear. And you can see on just middle to right, the colour of the dead skin is a bit darker, and that's a more oxidized